Hello, everyone, and welcome to Makeover Monday 2023, week 22, Watch Me Viz. Thank you for coming along today. My name is Andy Kriebel. I am your host. And in these sessions, I review the data set that we are looking at this week for Makeover Monday, have maybe a quick review of the original visualization, and then we dive into the data. We do a bit of exploration, a bit of trying out lots of different charts and analyzing the data before we go on to build the final visualization, which I then publish up to Tableau Public. So I will take you through that process end to end. So thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoy this. If you do, please remember to give the video a like. That'll help other people find it as well. Don't forget to click on subscribe. And also, I now have a weekly newsletter. So if you go to andykriebel.com and you sign up for the newsletter, just pop your name in there and click on subscribe. I will then send you lots of information every week. This past Friday, I released a tip that has not yet been released to the public. So early access to tips, special discounts on products that I'm going to be creating to help everybody learn a bit quicker. And also other tips, links to Watch Me Viz, different ways for you to learn each week. So again, that's at andykriebel.com. Just pop your name in there and click on subscribe. So let's, and I just realized that I did all of that talking without my screen up. So hello, everybody. Hopefully you got that. Again, go to andykriebel.com, click on subscribe. Okay. Prasad, early session today. Is the timing just for today? Yes, it is just for today. So yeah, thank you for asking. Okay, so let me go ahead and start with the visualization that we're going to be looking at. And I thought this report was really interesting. It was done by a student. So it's really interesting to read through their analytical part of the project, how their background, why they worked on this project, etc. Really, really interesting, really neat paper. I hope they got a really good grade. They do a good job of citing the resources that they used and how they went through and cleaned the data, visualizations they created. And one of the things I liked is once we get down to the visualizations, we can see, so these are some of the things that they created. And if we go down, you can see that, let me just keep scrolling, everything they built was in Tableau. So it's nice to see a student using Tableau. I don't think many students know that they can get it for free. So if you know anybody that is a student, you want to introduce them to Tableau, there is a way for them to get a free license for Tableau Desktop while they're in school. So encourage them to use it that way, and let's just create more and more great Tableau users. So anyway, as you go through, you'll see lots of these different visualizations, some bar charts, nothing particularly complicated. This is one we're going to look at, which is really, it looks like this is just a map of New York. The data is just from New York City. One of the things I don't like is that the New York City is cut off partially, so we don't see the northern or southern parts. Probably just the screenshot here, but that's all I have to go by. So it says the green blocks illustrate the dog distribution in New York City, and then the blue indicates the heat map or the bite. So really interesting use of two pieces of related data. So you might expect to see more dog bites in areas where there is a larger distribution. So yeah, anyway, I think that's kind of a neat way to do it. And that gives me a couple of ideas because the data that I provided has, I've done two things. One is the data about the dog bites. So this has the unique ID, the species, and some other information. And then the other data set that we look at here is, where is the data here? Okay, so we have the data. Let's see, where is the data itself? I think, oh, that's the data dictionary. Oh, here it is. Down here, the licensing data. So we have the animal name, the gender, the breed name, etc. So they use the zip code to do the kind of background there. So that gives me a couple of different ideas. So the trickiest part is going to be getting this data related together. And I'm also going to bring in probably, no, I don't think I need to bring in any shapes for, I was thinking I might need to bring in shapes for the dog bites because the data for the dog bites does not have, it's got zip code, but some of them are blank. Okay, that might be okay. Let's see what we can do. So over to Tableau we go. And here is our dog bites data. And for now, I'm not going to worry about the, could I bring in the licensing data? I'll bring it in anyway. So I'll just drag it over and create my relationship between the two data sets. It does it by zip code, and I think that's fine. So performance options. So many to many, I think that's probably okay as well. Yeah, so I think we're good to go there. And we'll see that Tableau put age down here. If we look here on the in the data pane, Tableau put age as a number. Obviously, it's not something we want to aggregate, so I'm just going to drag that up, and that must be the age of the dog. So we can look at something like, actually, whenever I do a relationship, the first thing I like to do is make sure that I have the right number of data points. So I'm going to drag the dog bites data, and I get 22,000 records. And if I, let me close that. Oops. So if I open up the dog bites data, wrong one. Let me just go back here. Makeover Monday data 2023. The dog bites data. We have 22,663 records. That's what we have there. Okay, great. And let's look at the dog licensing data. So 508,000. And hopefully we get 508,000 here as well. So 500,000 dogs registered. And we get that as well. Okay, great. So we have the right number of records for the dogs. So I'm going to try something else here. Again, this is just my way of confirming that the data looks right. So I'm going to bring in the zip code for each dog type, and I get, let's see, I still get 508, 196. Okay, and let's bring in zip code, number of records. I still get 22,000. A lot of them are null, so that's not going to help us very much. But I should now be able to bring in the other data as well. And if I look at licensing data, I get 508,000. Great. So Tableau is doing a perfect job of relating the data together. So that's good to see. So why don't we first start by reproducing what the original author did. So I'm just going to double click on zip code, and notice I get an error message on the bottom left. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to change my location to USA. And so we have a bunch of postcodes that aren't recognized. Country, region, 78 issues. Okay, so we've got, okay, so these must be dogs that are registered outside of the city of New York. Okay, that's fine. So, okay, well, that's not particularly helpful, is it? Okay, because so that's where the dog was originally. All right, let me try this a different way then. Let me just zoom in here. Maybe this is why they zoomed in. And let's just kind of zoom in on the boroughs. Okay, so we get something like that. I'm going to make it a map, and I'm going to put my dog licensing data on color. Okay, so there's our distribution of the dogs in New York. Okay, and then so if I just hover over like this one here, so I get 7613, and if I put the dog bites data on the detail, I get 207. Okay, so I'm going to flip this around, and dog licensing data detail, and again, sorry, this is my dog bites data. And let's make this a map. And I get 207, which is good. And let's bring in the dog licensing data, and I get 76. Okay, so Tableau is making it all work perfectly. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to look at then is I need to filter down to data that is just for New York City. So let's see here. So let me edit my data source, and I'm going to bring in another data source. And let's see, I'm going to bring in, I believe it's a spatial file, and New York zip codes. Okay, so this is going to give me a shape file. And let me bring this in. And what I'm going to link on here is my zip code to my zip code. Okay, but there's a type mismatch. So what I need to do here then is I need to change my data type. So on this one here, I need to change my data type. Where is it? Zip code type. So I want to make it a whole number. No, I want to make it a string. It does need to be a string. But over in this data source, we want zip code to be a string. We want it to be a string because there's leading zeros. And then this one, okay, so on this data set, we need to do the same thing. We need to make it a string. Okay, that should match everything up nice and neat. And then I also want to link this one to, let's see, so let's add more. Okay, so that's the wrong option there, so let me trash that. I'm trying to remember if there's a way to, let's see. Okay, I'm going to remove this because I want to actually, I want to join this here. So where's my zip code? Zip code to zip code. Okay, so I'm going to join that. And then, so that's going to get rid of my, but I don't want to get rid of my nulls. So let me make this a left join because we have zip codes that don't have any data. Okay, and now let me close that. And now my relationship is there. So that should be okay. Let me just, again, double check the data. So text, so 23,274. Let's bring this one in here, 508. Okay, great. So now, which one is which? Let me just try this field. So this is my geometry field. I need to go back into my data here and look at what it looks like. So this one is, I'm trying to see which zip code field to use. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is, there's some fields I don't need. So let me do a bit of data prep. So the dog bites, you can see the date is a string. So I'm going to make that a date. Okay, and the species, there's only dog in there, so we don't need that. So let's hide that. Age, gender, whether it's spayed or neutered, the zip code. So we don't need zip code twice. So I'm going to get rid of this one. But why am I getting rid of that one? Yeah, I think we can probably get rid of that one. And then I don't think we actually need, we don't need any of these. And we'll keep the state and the county, the FIPS. So we don't need any of this. Okay, so that's it for that data source. Okay, so that's good. And then in our dog licensing data, animal name, gender, year of birth, breed, that's fine. License expired, extract year. We don't need this one, so let's hide that. Okay. So now we have each of our data sources. We have the dog bites data, but I need to put my zip code on detail. And now something is wrong. Okay, let me try this again. Let me clear this sheet. Let me do zip code. I'm still getting zip codes outside of New York though, which is weird. Okay, I think I know what I did wrong. So show hidden fields, and let's unhide this one. And then let's do that. Okay. So now we should get just those that are in New York. Okay, good. That's what we want. But I still have a problem here. Okay, so this is my unknown, I believe. Unknown null. Okay, so we want to, let's filter out the nulls. Okay, there we go. So now we can see where our dog bites occurred. I'm just trying to think if there's a good way to display this. So we could do dog licensing data instead. And then I think what the previous person did was they put zip code on here again as a second layer. And then they put this on color, but made it a density map. So it was kind of something like that. But I would probably actually make these circles and then maybe put the dog bite on size as well. Something like that. But that's kind of one way you could do the relationship, I guess. I'm going to try something else, though. I'm going to try maybe the dog licensing data against the bites by zip code and see if there's any kind of... Okay, so these are our unknowns. Okay, so let me exclude that for now. Okay, I was just wondering if there's any kind of relationship between, is there a correlation between the number of dogs that are registered and the dog bites, but it doesn't really look like there's a very strong relationship. So, but again, that's just part of the exploratory process. So is there a way that you could do reverse geocoding in Tableau to fetch the area name or address using zip code? No, there's not. So sorry, Prasad, the answer is no. Okay, so let's look at the date of the bite by the number of bites. Okay, we get something like that. We can maybe look at it. Let's look at it by maybe month. Nope, wrong field. Month. And it looks like we have a bit of cyclical data here. Okay, so, and then of course we have a big drop during COVID, which isn't particularly surprising. And then back up in the July. Okay, so that leads me to believe when I see cyclical data like that, I'm going to look at a couple of different visualizations to represent that. So I want to look at, I'm going to flip these around. I'm going to look at the within each month, what is the trend across the years. So this is called a cycle plot. And this doesn't actually tell me a whole heck of a lot, and that's fine. Let's maybe look at the month of the dog bite, and then again the number of bites. Let's look at it as a bar chart, a bit easier to see, and we can see that the summer has the most dog bites, so not particularly surprising either. And another one we could look at maybe is maybe a heat map. So let's look at it by year and month and put the number of dog bites on the heat. And we can see, again, the summer sticks out a bit more. So I'm going to change the high end of my color to be, what color should I pick? Maybe something a bit darker blue. Maybe something like that. And okay. So April 2020, there was a big dip because of COVID. But other than that, yeah, we can see... So the heat map looks pretty nice. It definitely shows us the impact of the summer. Okay, so that's good. Let's put this on color. And actually, I'm going to default properties color. And I want to change the end to that color there. Okay, something like that. So now we can see the values a bit better. We could even label them, something like that. Now, so this gives us the dog bites by the month. This one gives us the heat map. And then if we duplicate this and we make this year, we can see the dog bites across the years. So this kind of gives us the three pieces we need to build a marginal histogram. So let me show you what a marginal histogram looks like. Marginal histogram. So this is what a marginal histogram looks like. Maybe. There we go. So something like that, where you've got the heat map in the middle, and then a bar chart across the top and a bar chart down the side. So that might be one interesting way to look at this particular data set. Okay, how else could we do this? Let's see. Let's go back to the map. I can delete this sheet. So I'm going to call this one my heat map. This is my bytes per year. This is my bytes per month. And I'm going to rotate this chart because my heat map has the months going down as well. Okay, so we'll leave it like that for now. That doesn't do us anything. That doesn't tell us anything. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this sheet. And I think what I'm going to try to do is, let me get rid of the second one for now. And I want to change this to be a circle, but I want it to be the percent of total. Okay, and this is the number of bytes. Okay, so that doesn't change the size at all. What was I trying to do here? I was thinking of creating like a donut inside of a donut, but that would be like impossible to understand. So I think I'm going to ignore that. Okay, but again, this is just a nice simple map. I think I like the dots a bit better than than just the what are we saying here? Let me get rid of this one. Let me just do a new sheet. If I do the zip code dog bytes on color, and then I need to exclude the unknown. So we've got that map versus, let me bring it here, this one. Yeah, I think maybe this one's actually easier to understand. So let me format the background. I'm going to get rid of the background map. Let's see, make that 100%. And let's set the borders to be, if I set it to none, oh, none doesn't look too bad. I usually use like a white color. Yeah, I think that's better. And then I want to get rid of the borders around the entire dashboard. So I need to go to my borders option, get rid of my row divider, and get rid of my column divider. Okay, so this is my bytes per zip code. Right. So I think I could explore this data a lot more, but okay, so what are some other things we could look at? We could look at the breed and look at the number of bytes. And then that gives us, so pit bulls, null, unknown. Yeah, this is quite messy because we got pit bull terrier, pit bull mix, Yorkshire terrier. So yeah, lots of, this is very difficult to understand. But I am going to try something here. If I look at my breed name and this, we get unknown. Yeah, so this is very messy as well. Okay, so I was thinking of doing something with the breed names, but it's just too messy. Let's look at the age of the dogs. And if I exclude the nulls, then we get something like that. So most of the dogs are younger, the ones that are biting. Okay. In my heat map, I've not gotten rid of the nulls. So these are my bytes by age. So I like this one as well. So I just need to make a note in here probably. Excludes dogs with an unlisted age with an unknown age. So let's make that a nice small font and italics. Okay, that way I know that I can hide this age field. And 41 is definitely not right, so I'm going to exclude that. Can't have a dog 41 years old, surely. Okay, let's clean up this axis. Get rid of that. Okay, do we want to turn the labels on here? I could do that with here. Or I could leave that. Okay, I think I'll leave it like that for now. Okay, so I think yeah, says Steve, top X, unknown equals mixed mutt. Not necessarily mixed mutt. It could be where it just wasn't recorded. So that could be the issue there, Stephen. So I think for me, it's too messy. I'm going to just exclude it. Let's look at the gender. And there's a lot of unknowns there. What if we look at whether they're spayed or not? So most of them are not spayed. So that kind of makes sense, given they're not very nice. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to make this actually a pie, which you won't see me do very often. Spay or neuter on color. And I'm going to change my color palette. Let's go with Pabst Blue Ribbon. So true that, false that, and let's try that. Actually, true. I think I'm going to do it like that. But now I'm going to turn this into a donut. And just duplicate that. On this second one, I'm going to make it a circle. I'm going to put the count onto the label and get rid of the size. And let's stick the label in the middle of the donut. Okay, let's make that white. Let's put a border on it. Maybe let's put maybe a dark border. And then let's make this a dual axis and synchronize and hide that axis. And then on the pie, let's just make the pie bigger. Okay, so now we have our dog bites. Okay, so this one actually doesn't need a border. Would this one do well with a border? Possibly. Let me try it on this one here then too. I don't know if I like that. I think I'll leave it like that. Yeah. Okay, so let's. So this is spade or all right, and then let's format this and get rid of the borders. So I'm thinking we could use this as a bit of like interactivity. So let's get rid of that in the tooltip. Okay, so let's edit the alias. No. Yes. Okay, so that gives us that. I really wish we could rename this field. Let's try. So I'm just going to call this bytes, put the number 1 in there. And then let's replace with bytes. Okay, let's make this a sum. And make this a sum. Okay, well that didn't work, so let me go back. I just hate how we can't rename this stupid field. Oh well, because I want to clean up the tooltips, but I It's just such a pain. And then here, actually, I don't want a tooltip in this one. So spayed or neutered, no, and yes. Okay, good. Okay, so the gender, what do we want to do here? Okay, let's call this gender. All right, so I've got quite a few things to pick from now. I've got my seasonality with my marginal histogram. I've got the age, the zip code, the gender, and the spayed or neutered. Okay, let me turn the labels on here. And let's get rid of the grid lines, the zero lines, and the axis rulers. Okay, and then I want to get rid of the tooltip because we already have the number there, so we don't need the tooltip as well. And here we've got the zip code, and let's just call this bytes. Okay, so that's good. Let's go back here. We can get rid of that and call this bytes. We'll leave the header there for now because we might need that. What are we doing here? Tooltip, year, and bytes. Oops. And then here we want to have the year, the month. No, wait, do it the other way around. Just keeping my tooltips nice and simple. Okay, bytes by age. Let's again maybe turn the numbers on just for consistency. And age and bytes. Actually, I don't need the tooltip here. And then what I can do here is hide the header. I've done this one. I've done this one. I've done this one. Okay, so I'm going to copy the formatting on this one and paste it here. And then on this one, we want to get rid of format the borders. We want to get rid of these borders that go across the top. So let's get rid of that. And we can hide the field labels for the rows and for the columns. Bytes per year. So we want to paste the formatting, hide the header, hide the field labels. Bytes per month. We could hide the field labels, paste the formatting, and hide the header. Okay, sheet 5 we don't need. Okay, so now I need to think about kind of the design I want to go for. So I'm just going to start by just putting a dashboard in here. I know this isn't going to be my final one, but I think this is 731. So this is my 16:9 ratio. I always kill the delete first. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to actually just draw some things here. So this is going to be my title. And then I want to have maybe my, let's see, I'm going to maybe have my donut here. Actually, I probably need like a big number here with my donut. And then we have the gender. Right, and then what else do we have? So then we could put the marginal histogram here with the bar chart going down the side, the other one going across, and then the heat map here. And then maybe we have the age one across the bottom, perhaps. It's probably going to be too wide, but maybe I can rearrange some of these things on the left-hand side. Okay, so just trying to so Prasad, can we show which breed is most likely to bite across the month? Just the top one. We can. So the only issue I have, Prasad, with doing that is that when I look at the breeds, if I pick, let me just put the dog bites on here. I can't just pick pit bull because while it's the highest right here, it's the only, there's lots of other breeds that need to be put together. Like, for example, you have mixed, and you have mixed and, crossbreed. And then you have all these other things that, do large mixed, terrier mix. You've got all these that it's like, I don't feel comfortable, while I suspect the pit bulls are the highest, I don't feel comfortable filtering on the breed, because then people will make an assumption that that's the number for pit bulls when it's not necessarily. So we have pit bull here. We've got pit bull here. So if I filter to just this pit bull, then I'm missing out on those. So that's the reason I'm not using the breed data, is because it's not clean and I don't have time to clean it up. So yeah, I'm not going to use that. Okay, so let's start by dragging in our horizontal container. And again, I float these in. I get asked this all the time. Why do I float these in? Because I don't want a mess of containers down here in my layout section. It just helps me control the dashboards a bit more. There is a playlist on my YouTube channel of 4 different videos to help you learn about layout containers. And then 731, I think that's the right ratio. Let me see. Ratio. I think it's 731. Yeah, 731. Okay, I was right. Okay. And I'm going to set the background to be maybe a gray. And let's leave it like that for now. I'm going to put a text box in this container, and I'm going to call it I'm just going to call it my title for now, and I'll come back and fix that later. Okay, and then I like to always put a blank in here as well. So my data isn't, I'm not making this a particularly interesting dashboard. I tend to always build these same sorts of dashboards for when I'm doing Watch Me Viz. I don't know why, but hopefully it doesn't get too boring for you all. Okay, so now this actually should be, and then my background needs to be white. This actually needs to be 0, and this needs to be 10. Oh, this is always annoying. Okay, something like that. And I want this to extend the width of the dashboard. So I want to, let's see, so I need to just get rid of all my padding. There we go. And that makes that go edge to edge. And then my whole dashboard, I'm going to put just a border on it so I can see where it is. Okay. Let me look back. So we do have some of this cyclical data. And what I could do is, let's see. So we have data for every year. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to build a. Let me go back to my Google Photos, and I want to show you something that maybe something like this. So this was done a couple weeks ago by Treya McAloney, who is in the data school. Actually, I think I'm going to skip this because I'm releasing a video today that will actually show you how to build this. So I think I'm going to leave this for now. How many years do we have in the data set anyway? We've got years and months. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why don't I just build it anyway? What the heck? But I do need to go to my cheat sheet and see how to build this. Okay, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, so I don't need that. Okay, so I need to create a few calculations. So number one is my angle, and this is going to look at the year of the, what's it called, date of bite. And it's going to get, I need to make this go 360 degrees around. So 360 divided by the, let's see, I want to count the months of the order date. So date, trunk, month of order date. Oh no, not order date, date of bite. Okay, I'll explain to you in just a sec what this is doing. Okay, and then I need to wrap up the moustache. Okay, so this is saying for every year, we want to count the number of months, the distinct number of months, and we want, actually, this probably could just be month of order date. Yep. We want to count the number of months and take 360, so it's going to be 360 divided by 12, essentially. That's going to give us kind of the angle going around a circle. So then the next calculation is 2 dot angle running total, and this is going to be the running total of the sum of the angle. So this is going to basically let us loop around the circle. Okay, and then the next calculation is number 3, and this is the angle in radians, and this is the radian function of our running total. And then let's create number 4. And again, there's a video coming out today for how to do this. So radius, and this is going to be my, okay. So I want to get the number of years. Okay, so I need to get the average. Start with a bracket. Average year of the bite date. I need a second bracket, okay. I want to subtract from that the average of the min, so mustachio, year, date of bite. Okay, 2 brackets, and then a mustachio, oh, time for lunch, and then another bracket and another bracket. Okay, so this is basically saying take the year and subtract from that the first year. Okay, so our first year, let's say, is let's say we're in the year 2020, and our minimum year is 2019, 2015, then this is going to result in -5, which is just going to allow us to kind of control the circle going in and out. So, and then I'm going to now create a parameter, and let's call this one, oops, we don't need that. And then, okay, we're going to call this one distance from center. And this is going to be an integer, and let's default it to 45. No particular reason it's 45. And then create parameter. This one is going to be, we're going to call this one space buffer. And let's make this an integer and 10. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show both of these. Okay, and then I need to go back into my radius calculation. I'm going to multiply this by the space buffer and then add to that the distance. Okay, I'll explain. You'll see what this does as I build out the view. Okay, so let's go back to our calculations here. Number 5, this is going to give us our x, or our columns. I'll just do it that way. It's a bit easier to know where to drop it. And this is going to give the cosine of the angle in radians times the radius. I think this might be backwards. Let me see here. Just give me 1 second here because I think this is backwards. So just give me 1 second. I just need to look up the calculation. So just give me 1 second. Let's go back to the video. Okay.
Hello everyone and what?
Okay, I just need to go to my calculations. That's 3. That's the sine. Okay. Okay. All right, I am back. So this should be the sine of that. And then let's create another calculated field. And this one should be this is going to be my rows. And this is going to be where is it here? Cosine. So this is what number calculation am I on now? 6.rows. And this is the cosine. And if this is probably taking you back to geometry class. So this is the cosine of the angle in radians times the radius. Okay. So let's hit OK. And now we can start building our view. So we'll put column in the columns, row in the rows, and we want to do let's see, we want this to be by year and month. So we'll do continuous months. And now we want to edit the table calc, and we want to do it for every month. For every month. There we go. All right, so now we can see we've got October, November, December. It looks like I need to figure out how to rotate January back to the top, because that would make more sense, wouldn't it? How can I do that rotation angle? Let me see, I think if I did, let me just stick a number in here and see what happens. Okay. So I probably want to do minus 360 divided by 12. No, plus. Okay, and now which one is this? It's March. What is it? This is annoying. Let's say, let me just put a number in here for now. May. October, November. I forget what the exact math is, and this is now driving me crazy. July, August. Maybe I need to do -1. February -0.5. January, okay, -0.45. Oh. Just trying to get it so it lines up exactly on that line. Okay, there we go. All right, so now this gives us January all the way around the view. And I'm going to change these to circles. I'm going to put my year onto color. And I'm going to put the number of bytes onto the size. And let's change the size here. And let's give it a bit of a, let's make it a range instead. And what if we do something like that? Well, that's not very interesting now, is it? What if I filter by borough? Let's just try the Bronx. Okay. Well, all that time for something quite disappointing because it doesn't look very good. All right. Well, my hope was that it would look, you know, more like this, but it doesn't. That's okay. But later today, I'm going to be releasing a video for how to create that. So yeah. Okay. So let's go back to our dashboard. I've been wasting a lot of time here. And I wanted to start with, let's see, I wanted to have, this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to need to bring up Excalidraw. Okay, so let me just grab these boxes here and move them out of the way because I could probably reuse them. Oh, I think I said I was going to use a big number as well. So let me just do a new sheet. Okay, so let me just do the number of bytes. Let's see. Actually, what I should probably do is, if I look at my, maybe I'll just put it in the title here. Okay, so let's call this total bytes. And this is going to be the sum of the dog bytes. And I don't need to do a sum, just the count. And if I put that into the detail, and let's call this total. And then I can insert my count of dog bytes. Oh, wrong field. This needs to be my total bytes. Okay. Let's make this centered. Oh God, it's so annoying. Why does it do that? Okay, and I'm going to make this maybe 10 or 11. Let's make, oops. I don't know if you all find this interesting or not, but hopefully you do if you're still sticking around. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to format this. I'm going to make this more like a spark. Let's see. I could probably leave it like that. So let me edit the axis. I'm going to make it more like a spark line. So that's going to drill in on the axis. Tooltip. So this is our month. And then this is going to be our bytes. Okay, and then let's uncheck show header. Where was one of our ones that had the formatting? Copy for, let's see. Okay, and now I'm gonna hide the header for that. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll label maybe the min and the max. Something like that. Okay, and then maybe I should color this with our font that we're using for the dashboard. Okay, so this is my ban. Okay, so I'm going to start by just sticking my map in here just so I have some kind of, or maybe I'll put my bytes by age in here. Okay, and then this needs to have a background, and we're going to get rid of the outer padding and then give it maybe 20 of inner padding. Let's make this one 20 as well. And let's edit the height. Okay. So, and then I want to have that kind of panel of, let me go back over here to Excalidraw. I wanted to have my kind of big number, and then I'm going to have, let me just look at my sheet sorter view. I'm going to have my big number, and then I want to have my gender split, and then I want to have my spayed or neutered, and I think that's it. Okay, so let's try this. So I'm going to have the gender split, that, and that. Okay, so let me build that part first. Where are we here? Oh, stay in Tableau. So that's going to be a vertical container that needs to go. Actually, I need to put a horizontal in here. And then I need to move this sheet, come on, stupid sheet, into there. And then vertical container there. There we go. Okay, so I want to put my ban in there. And let's make that entire view. That's good. Layout, background, white, outer padding 0, inner padding 20. This formatting stuff takes absolutely ages. And now then I wanted to put my gender split and then my spayed or neutered. Okay, so let's make this entire view. Make this entire view. I'm going to swap that around so it fits a bit better. Hide the title. Okay, so 0. Background is that. This is 20. And this one 20. Okay, right. So let's call this one bytes by gender. And let's make this maybe 12 point center. Okay. Center 12. I'm probably gonna have to do something different with this title, but I'll worry about that in a minute. Okay, so now let me edit the height of this. Actually, let me just grab this whole container and edit the width. Let's make it maybe 200. Okay, and then let's edit the height of this sheet to make it maybe, let's try 150. Okay, so that looks good for the trend, but now I'm going to get rid of my labels because that doesn't look good. Okay, so that gives me my trend. And then let's make this one, let's say 250. Okay, yeah, so that looks pretty good. The problem now is I don't have a color legend here. what's another word for, okay, I think that's fine. Oops. So how wide do I need to make this dashboard? So if I make this 250, I want to get spayed or neutered. Okay, there we go. I want spayed or neutered to be on one line. So that looks good now. Okay, Maria, Andy, one question I see, genders. I understand you as for unknown. Would you consider to exclude it from the visualization? I'm not going to in this case because like I filtered out the nulls from the ages just because the number was so outrageously larger than everything else. So if you are going to exclude it, I would probably just make sure you note that. Do you think it's okay to visualize the pie chart, 2 genders, or should you go for the bar chart? Pie chart would be okay. I think pie chart's okay with just 2. Yeah, so yeah, I would say the pie chart's fine. Okay, so let's call this, what did I call this? Let's see, what did I call this session? Okay. All right, I'll come back. Okay. Dogs of New York City. Where are you most? Dog bites of New York City. Let me just leave it like that for now. Not a great title, but I can worry about that later. All right, so we have that now. Why does this window show up? Okay, the data guide. Okay, so now the question is, do we bother with the marginal histogram? Because if we just put let's just try it with just the heat map now. So I'm going to need to put a vertical container in here and put this sheet inside of the vertical container. Do I have any mess down here? I do. And then I want to put my heat map above that. And if I make this fit entire view, how does that look? So let me put, I think I'm going to put a horizontal container in here, move that inside, and then put the map in here. Okay, I think that looks a bit better. So let's do that. Again, all of our stupid formatting. Okay, and then that's like that. Wow, it sure is crowded. I want to see, maybe it'll look okay if I put maybe some dividers in here. Let me see. No, wait a minute. I have a background. Okay, let me try this now. Let me put 10. There we go. This is what I wanted to do. This is going to now give me some padding around everything. It's going to let me see the gray background. Something like that. Okay, now what I don't like is that these don't line up. So let's edit the height of this one. And let's make it 250 just to make it simple. And then let's undo the height from that one. Edit the height, 250. Because that'll get those two to line up now. Okay, so that looks better. Okay, thanks for the info. You're welcome, Maria. Thank you for asking. So, my age chart is really flat, but I'm not really too bothered by that. How old were the dogs? Okay, let's maybe make that, I guess 15 is okay. What size? I'm in 12, okay. Okay. So I think I'm pretty much done. Now the question is, well, I probably should have saved by now. What do I want to call this dashboard? Shall we ask, let's try Bard and see what Bard thinks. I need list 10 alternative dashboard names for a data visualization about dog bites in New York City. Let's see. The data behind dog bites. How about maybe I'll try that. Dog bites in New York City, what you need to know. All right, something like that. All right. So I'm going to rename my sheet week 22, and I'm going to save. Makeover Monday 2023, week 22. Dog bites in New York City. Save. All right, so now the last question is, do I want to add some interactivity to this? I'm going to clean up the formatting a bit. So let me go here. I'm going to make my labels 8, just so they don't take up quite as much space. This number I think I can make larger. Although I do have the big number there. So do I even need that number in the middle? Probably not. But I could put the percentage in there instead. Okay, so let's try that. Actually, before I do that, let me clean up my labels here. So let's make these 8. Okay. What else do we need to clean up? I think I want to make these not bold. Let's make them just Tableau book. And let's make them 8. Okay, that's better. Right. So I think what I'm going to do here, just to clean this up a bit, is I'm going to put in the middle, I'm going to put my percent of total. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to take the dog bites. No, I want to get, so percent of not fixed. So this is going to be, I'm going to say if, now I could do it this way. I could say, because my spay field is a true false, so if so let's say if spay or neuter equals false. Then 1, else 0, end. And then we're going to sum up those. And we're going to divide that by our total bytes. And this needs to be a sum as well. Okay, so let's see what we get here. So this should be, so 17 divided by 23. So it should be about 74%. Okay, so let's default properties, number format, percentage, 0 decimals. And let's put that on here. Ah, perfect. Beauty. Wonderful. And now I can make that label. That's probably okay. 74%. Wait, this is backwards. My legend is backwards. So do it like that. Hopefully people understand what fixed means. And then I need to also put my text box at the very, at the very bottom. And let's put some padding on that one. There we go. Something like that. Okay. So, yeah, I do still have that as red. I have that as red intentionally because I don't want it to get confused with the blues. So what I could do now is I could add some interactivity. So if I want bytes by gender, if I just choose the use as filter, let's fix the height. Fix the height. I want to make sure everything is fixed height. Fixed height. Okay. So if I click on, there we go. So we can see it changing. Females are less likely to bite. But I want this number to change up here. You see my 223, 241 is not changing. So I need to add this action filter to context so that it gets computed before my total does. So, and that's going to need to happen in my pie chart as well. Add to context, okay. Okay, there we go. And I think I'm going to make this line a bit thinner. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Okay, yeah, I like that thinner line. Okay, so that's going to change that. And maybe I should put in here, click to filter. Let's make that maybe 8 point. And italics, let's copy that. Because I want to make sure they know that they can filter. So I'm going to make this dashboard a bit taller in a second here. Let's do the same thing here. Let's turn on the filter. Do the same thing here. Click OK. And then the same thing here. Okay, so turn that on as well. So now I need to click through each of these. And let's just click one here, click one here. And I just need to go back into these two sheets. And I want to, the age has to be added to context. I want to get rid of this action on the year, so I'll fix that in a minute. And then my spayed or neutered, this needs to be added to context, and that needs to be added to context. Okay, there we go. Okay, now what I don't want is this sheet here. I don't want the line chart to go away. So maybe it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it too much. So let me add that to context. Move this all the way to the left. Don't forget to save. Okay, I thought there was something else I was going to put in here, but now I don't remember what it was. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just do a tiny bit more formatting. So on my padding, I want it to only be 5 on the right and 5 on the bottom. And then this one, I want it to be 5 at the top. Oops. And then 10 at the left. What I'm trying to do is make sure the gray spacing is equal around everything. So 5 at the top, 5 at the right. And let's set the bottom to 0. No, wait. No. Did I just do this in the wrong place? What did I just do there? Oh, there we go. Now I can fix the height. And then let's, shoot. Okay, now this one, again, we want to do 0 for the bottom, 0 for the left, 10 for the right, and 5 for the top. No, the left needs to be 5. Okay. And then this one, the top needs to stay 10, the left is 5, the right is 5, and the bottom is 5. And then this one, we're going to have the top and the right are both 5, so 5 and 5. Okay, so what's going on here? Oh no, this could be, so the right is 5. No. Okay, there we go. So this one, okay, so I'm going to adjust the height of this one to match this one. So let's edit the height. This is 235. Edit the height, 235. Okay. And I think in this one format lines, I need to set the 0 line to none as well. Okay. All right, I am going to call it quits there. What the heck did I do here? So I still want that to be 235, but I need this one to be bigger. Okay, there we go. Right, so everything should be good to go now. All right, I think that's it. So thank you for watching. Again, I hope you found this useful. Seems every week I do the same kind of charts, but again, the whole point of this is to help you see how I approach the analysis. And let me go back on camera here. Let's show. Okay, so the whole idea here is for you to see how I approach the analysis, how I think through which charts to build, how I use containers to build the dashboard, and I'm showing you how to add a bit of interactivity. So yeah, hopefully you found it helpful, and I will be back next week. Eve and I are expecting a baby within the next 2 weeks, so there's a chance this is canceled for a couple of weeks, but I will do my best. So thank you again for joining. And a reminder, if you go out to my website, you can subscribe right on here to my newsletter. You can visit past issues if you want. So this is the last one here. Showed you how to make this chart, KPI dashboard, and some other things. So thank you again for joining. I look forward to seeing you all again, hopefully next week. Bye.